Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive with us. Today, we are diving into the world of global shipping
Global shipping.
as an investment opportunity.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's not something that people immediately think of. You think of tech or real estate or whatever it is, but
Right.
shipping is, as we're going to find out, a really integral part of the global economy.
Oh, absolutely.
Um, and we've got a couple of interesting sources today. We've got a report that breaks down all the economics and geopolitics of the industry.
hmm
And we've also got some analysis from the investment platform that thinks shipping is kind of the next big thing.
Mm.
So,
I think it's fascinating how much we interact with shipping every day without even realizing it.
oh, absolutely.
It's really the invisible backbone of the global
It
economy.
is.
Yeah.
And this report highlights that like 80 to 90% of global trade happens by sea.
Wow.
So it means pretty much everything.
Yeah.
The clothes we wear, the devices we use, everything got here on a ship.
It's mind-boggling when you think about it. And by 2025, they're projecting global seaborne trade to reach 13 billion metric tons.
Wow.
That's a phenomenal amount of cargo moving across the oceans.
That's just an incredible amount of stuff.
It is.
So we know shipping is this massive industry, but what makes it an investment opportunity, particularly now?
Well, one thing that stands out is the industry's resilience.
Okay.
Think back to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
Global supply chains were completely disrupted, but the shipping industry adapted,
Yeah,
and they kept those essential goods flowing.
they did. It's amazing how they were able to pivot and adjust.
Absolutely.
And the report even points out that some of these current geopolitical shifts, like the sanctions we're seeing and the trade disputes,
Right.
they're actually creating new opportunities for the industry.
Exactly. They're reshaping those trade routes.
Yeah.
Take the increase in LNG shipments from the U.S. to Europe, for example.
Mm.
So the sanctions on Russia have really reshaped the energy markets, and shipping is playing a vital role in filling that gap.
Filling the gap.
Yeah, the U.S. is now a major LNG supplier to Europe, which has led to this surge in demand for specialized carriers.
Wow. So instead of being negatively impacted, the industry is actually finding ways to adapt and benefit from these global changes.
Absolutely. And another key factor is the industry's commitment to sustainability.
Okay.
Now, you might not think of massive cargo ships as being eco-friendly,
Right.
but there's a real push toward greener practices,
Interesting.
both from regulators and investors.
Yeah, the report specifically mentions the IMO's 2020 sulfur cap,
Right.
which placed stricter limits on sulfur emissions from ships.
Yeah,
That seems like a pretty big deal for the environment.
it is a big deal. And it's not just about compliance.
Okay.
These regulations are driving innovation.
How so?
Well, we're seeing more investment in LNG-powered ships,
Okay.
which burn cleaner than traditional fuels.
So it's kind of a win-win.
Exactly.
Companies can reduce their environmental impact while also appealing to investors who are, obviously increasingly focused on sustainability.
Precisely. And let's not forget the human element of this industry. Over 1.8 million seafarers are working on those 50,000 ships
Wow.
out there connecting the world.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It's a massive workforce.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just the crews on the ships, you've got entire ecosystems built around ports and logistics.
Absolutely.
You think about ports like Rotterdam, Shanghai, Singapore. They're like economic engines.
They're hubs of global commerce.
Driving regional growth, creating millions of jobs.
Yeah, but as with any industry, shipping faces its share of challenges.
Okay, such as?
The report talks about fluctuating freight rates, port congestion, the ever-increasing burden of regulations.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot to navigate.
It is.
How is the industry responding to these challenges?
Well, it's interesting how challenges often lead to innovation.
Okay.
The report highlights several exciting advancements that are transforming the industry.
Like what? Give us some examples.
We're seeing this wave of technological advancements like autonomous vessels,
Autonomous vessels.
which could revolutionize how goods are transported.
So they're like self-driving ships.
Essentially, yes. Imagine ships sailing themselves across the ocean, guided by AI and advanced sensors.
That does sound pretty futuristic, I have to admit. But what about the potential for job losses? I mean, if you've got ships sailing themselves.
That's a valid concern.
Yeah.
But you have to keep in mind that automation also creates new opportunities.
Okay.
It might free up those human workers to focus on more specialized tasks improving safety and efficiency.
I see. So it's not necessarily eliminating jobs, it's just changing the nature of the jobs.
Exactly. And what about other advancements? What other things are happening?
Yeah, what else is going on?
Well, we're seeing AI being used to optimize shipping routes
Okay.
by analyzing weather patterns, ocean currents, even port congestion.
Wow.
AI can help ships find the most efficient route, saving time and fuel.
So it's like having a super smart GPS for ships.
Yeah. Exactly. And then there's blockchain technology,
Okay.
which has the potential to really streamline transactions, increase transparency, and reduce fraud in the shipping process.
Wow. So these advancements aren't just making the industry more efficient, but also more secure.
Exactly. And all of these innovations are making the industry more attractive to investors
Oh, okay.
who are looking for long-term growth potential.
So how does this all tie back to this investment platforms analysis?
Right.
Why are they so bullish on shipping?
Well, they argue that shipping offers this unique opportunity to tap into global trade growth.
Okay.
As the world economy expands, the demand for shipping services is just going to increase.
That makes sense, but isn't global trade kind of inherently unpredictable?
It can be, but that's why diversification is important.
Okay.
Investing in shipping allows you to spread that risk across a sector that's connected to the entire world.
So instead of putting all your eggs in one basket, you're kind of betting on the overall growth of global commerce.
Right. And the platform highlights several specific factors that make shipping attractive right now.
Okay, like what?
Well, they point to the decarbonization trend we talked about.
Right.
As the world shifts towards a more sustainable future, there's going to be a massive need for ships that can transport renewable energy components, sustainable fuels, and other green technologies.
So investing in shipping could be a way to kind of align your financial goals with your environmental values.
Exactly.
Okay.
They also point to the fact that shipping is a highly specialized industry
Okay.
with a lot of niche markets,
Right.
which creates opportunities for investors who are willing to do their research and find those undervalued segments.
So it's not just about investing in big container ships.
Mm.
There are specialized carriers for everything.
For everything from oil and gas to bulk commodities, even luxury goods.
Oh, wow.
Each of these segments has its own unique dynamics and potential for growth.
That's really interesting.
Mm.
So we've covered a lot of ground here, from just the sheer scale of the shipping industry to the challenges and opportunities that it faces.
Mm-hmm.
We've also touched on why this investment platform believes shipping is a compelling investment opportunity.
Yeah.
But what are some of the ways that people can actually invest in this sector?
That's a great question. There's a surprising number of options available.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Let's delve into those different investment options in the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good.
All right.
Let's take a short break and come back to explore those avenues.
Okay, sounds good.
Right.
All right, so let's jump back into our exploration of shipping as an investment opportunity.
Okay.
You mentioned that there are a number of ways to actually invest in this sector.
Right.
What are some of those options?
Well, one straightforward approach is to invest directly in publicly traded shipping companies.
Okay.
This could involve buying stocks in companies that own and operate vessels, or manage ports, or provide logistics services.
So that sounds pretty familiar. It's like investing in any other industry, right? You're betting on the company's performance and its ability to, generate profits.
Yeah, you're essentially becoming a part owner of the company and sharing in its successes.
Right.
But of course, as with any stock investment, there are risks involved.
Okay, what are some of the risks with shipping specifically?
Well, the shipping industry is cyclical, meaning its performance is influenced by factors like global economic growth, commodity prices,
Right.
and those geopolitical events that we talked about earlier.
So an investor needs to be comfortable with a certain amount of volatility
Mhm.
and be prepared for the ups and downs that come with the territory.
That's right. It's important to do your due diligence.
Yeah.
Research the companies carefully and understand their financials and their exposure to various market conditions.
Now, for someone who might not be comfortable picking individual stocks,
Right.
are there other ways to gain exposure to the shipping sector?
Absolutely. Exchange-traded funds, or ETFs,
Yeah.
are a popular option.
Okay.
An ETF is like a basket of stocks that tracks a specific index or sector. And there are ETFs specifically designed to track the performance of the shipping industry.
So instead of investing in one company, you're investing in a diversified portfolio of shipping-related companies
Exactly.
with a single ETF.
Right.
That sounds like a good way to spread the risk.
Exactly. ETFs offer that instant diversification and can be a more convenient and cost-effective way to gain exposure to the sector.
You also mentioned something called tracker certificates earlier.
Yes.
What are those and how do they fit into the picture?
Tracker certificates are interesting instruments. They're essentially debt securities that are linked to the performance of an underlying asset.
Okay.
In the context of shipping, a tracker certificate could be linked to the price of a specific commodity like oil or iron ore,
Right.
freight rates in a particular shipping route, or even the value of a fleet of vessels.
So it's a way to kind of bet on a specific aspect of the shipping market
hmm
without actually owning the physical asset.
Exactly. And because tracker certificates are traded on exchanges,
hmm
they offer investors liquidity and transparency.
All right. So we've got stocks, ETFs, tracker certificates.
Yeah.
What about investors who are looking for maybe more hands-on involvement?
Right.
Perhaps those with a higher risk tolerance and a longer-term investment horizon.
For those investors, private equity and venture capital could be interesting avenues.
Okay.
Private equity firms often invest in established shipping companies, providing capital for expansion or acquisitions.
Right.
Venture capital, on the other hand, tends to focus on early-stage companies that are developing disruptive technologies or business models.
So if you're interested in supporting the next generation of shipping innovations,
hmm
venture capital could be the way to go, but I imagine these types of investments require significant capital
Yes.
and a deep understanding of the industry.
That's true. They're not for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
And they typically involve longer lockup periods, meaning your investment is tied up for a longer time.
Hmm.
But for those who are willing to take on more risk and have the expertise to navigate this space, the potential rewards can be substantial.
And what about investors who are looking for a more traditional income generating approach?
Well, there are always bonds issued by shipping companies.
Okay.
Bonds represent debt obligations,
Yeah.
and they typically offer a fixed interest rate over a specific period.
Right.
So if you're looking for that steady stream of income while still gaining exposure to the shipping sector, bonds could be a good fit.
So it really does seem like there's an investment option for everyone in the world of shipping,
I think so.
from individual stocks to these more complex instruments like tracker certificates and private equity.
It's a diverse range of
Oh,
opportunities
yes.
for investors with different goals, risk tolerances, and time horizons.
Yeah, it sounds like we've covered a lot of ground in terms of investment options. But before we wrap up, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the long-term outlook for the shipping industry.
Okay.
Is it a sector that you see continuing to grow and evolve in the years to come?
Absolutely. Shipping is an essential part of the global economy. And as the world becomes increasingly interconnected,
Right.
the demand for shipping services will only continue to rise.
But it's not just about the volume of goods being transported, right?
Yeah.
It's also about how the industry itself is changing and adapting to new challenges and opportunities.
Precisely. And we've already touched on some of the key trends shaping the future of shipping: decarbonization, digitalization, automation.
Right.
These trends are driving innovation and creating new opportunities for companies and investors alike.
Let's delve deeper into those trends and explore their potential impact on the industry in the final part of our deep dive.
Sounds good.
What do you say?
I'm all for it. Let's set sail and see what the future holds for the world of shipping.
So we've talked about the scale of the shipping industry, the range of investment opportunities, and now let's look ahead to the future.
Okay.
What major trends do you see shaping the industry in the coming years?
Well, one of the most significant is definitely the push towards decarbonization. The industry is under increasing pressure to reduce its carbon footprint,
Yeah.
both from regulators and from investors who are prioritizing sustainability.
We touched on this earlier with the IMO's 2020 sulfur cap, but it seems like that was just the start.
Yeah.
What other changes are we seeing in terms of making shipping more environmentally friendly?
It's a multifaceted effort.
Yeah, okay.
We're seeing investments in alternative fuels like LNG hydrogen, even ammonia.
Ammonia.
Some companies are exploring wind-assisted propulsion and battery-powered vessels for shorter routes.
Wow.
It's an exciting time of experimentation and innovation as the industry seeks to find the most viable solutions.
It sounds like there's no one-size-fits-all answer.
Right.
Different technologies might be more suitable for different types of ships and routes.
Exactly. And alongside the development of alternative fuels and propulsion systems,
Yeah.
there's also a focus on optimizing ship design and operations to improve fuel efficiency. Even small improvements in efficiency can make a big difference when you consider the sheer number of ships operating globally.
Right. And this push towards sustainability isn't just about being green.
Yeah,
It's also about being economically competitive.
absolutely.
With rising fuel costs, companies that can reduce their reliance on fossil fuels will have a significant advantage.
For sure, sustainability and profitability are increasingly intertwined in the shipping industry.
So decarbonization is one major trend. What else is on the horizon?
But digitalization is another transformative force.
Okay, tell me more about that.
The shipping industry has traditionally been quite paper-based and reliant on manual processes, but that's rapidly changing.
What are some examples of how digital technologies are being used?
We're seeing the adoption of sophisticated software platforms that streamline operations, improve communication,
Mm-hmm.
enhance transparency across the supply chain. Sensors and data analytics are being used to optimize routes, monitor cargo conditions,
Wow.
and predict maintenance needs.
It sounds like these digital tools are helping to make the industry more efficient, reliable, and responsive.
They are. And this trend toward digitalization is also opening up new opportunities for data-driven decision-making,
Uh,
allowing companies to optimize their operations in ways that were previously impossible.
we talked earlier about automation. How does that fit into this broader trend of digitalization?
Automation is a key part of that process.
Okay.
Autonomous vessels, for example, rely heavily on advanced sensors, AI-powered navigation systems, and real-time data analysis.
It seems like these trends, decarbonization, digitalization, and automation, are all interconnected,
Yes.
each reinforcing and accelerating the others.
They are, and together they're creating a future for the shipping industry that is more sustainable, efficient, and technologically advanced than ever before.
Right.
And for investors, these trends represent significant opportunities to support companies that are driving these innovations and shaping the future of the industry.
So it's not just about investing in ships or shipping companies, it's about investing in the future of global trade.
And the technologies that will make it more sustainable and efficient.
Precisely. And for those who are interested in aligning their investments with their values,
Yeah.
the shipping industry offers a compelling opportunity to support companies that are working towards a greener and more technologically advanced future.
This has been a fascinating deep dive into the world of shipping. We've covered a lot of ground,
We have.
from the industry's vital role in the global economy to the exciting innovations and investment opportunities it presents.
It's clear that shipping is an industry in transition, one that's embracing change and shaping the future of global trade.
As we wrap up, I'd like to leave our listeners with something to consider.
Okay.
Knowing all that we've discussed, what aspect of the shipping industry do you find most compelling? Is it the potential for technological disruption, the drive towards sustainability,
Hmm?
or perhaps the sheer scale and interconnectedness of this global network?
Huh.
It's a question worth pondering. The shipping industry might not be the most glamorous or attention-grabbing sector, but it's undoubtedly one that deserves our attention, our understanding, and perhaps even our investment.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found it informative and insightful. Until next time, keep exploring and keep learning.